Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Hello. We're back for another Wednesday of question answering.
All these questions come from our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members.
Let's not waste any time and jump right into it with Mr. Wahoo! Mario has a form that grants complete invincibility forever. That is, the white Tanuki suit. This super form of Mario can do many things. Could this form be Supersonic's equal or Hypersonic's equal?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, it's invincible forever. It doesn't wear out, I guess?
No, it does not. But you do have to die several times in order for it to spawn. In order for the power-up to appear so you can actually use it.
So it's a power-up built for me. Gotcha.
Yes,
gotcha.
It's for if you are bad at video games, take this.
I am notoriously awful at Mario, so
and even then though, it does not prevent you from falling off the stage.
Oh well.
Yes, that is still an option. That is still a possibility. Although you have unlimited flight with it, but yeah. So it's a very similar weakness with Supersonic, actually, because Supersonic can't survive falling down pits either.
That's true. But Super/Hyper is on a time limit, like minimum 50 seconds.
Yes.
So I guess ultimately White Tanuki Mario would win out just by battle of attrition.
Just by waiting him out for a bit, yeah.
Yeah. To give you context of just how bad I am with Mario, I was telling Night Train over at Night Works about how I was playing, I think it was the new Super Mario Brothers, and how I managed to get a game over in that, and he's like, how? The one-ups they give you, the ease of the how? And I said, I don't know, man, I couldn't get through World One, and he's the look he gave me, the utter disappointment, the befuddlement. Like, you guys do not understand. I am stunningly bad at Mario.
Mm-hmm. Having seen you play Shovel Knight, I mean, yeah, that tracks.
Let's move on to the next question, shall we?
Mixiger17 has a question. We know Belle inherited Mr. Tinker's capacity to build and create, but how would go about revealing Belle secretly also has some of Robotnik's family madness, manifesting in concerning habits and or urges she manages to keep repressed or in check under most circumstances? Feel free to go with the funny, Belle, your Eggman is showing again, tone it down, or the angsty, she's actually really scared about what it could mean for her and what her friends would say route. Whichever you like.
I think you could go either way.
How much trauma do you want to inflict on this ball of trauma?
Trauma and angst in IDW? Heaven forbid.
For a character that's already freaking dripping in angst and trauma?
I think the gentlest thing you could do was just showcase how much she cares for the Badniks. Like, how much she cares for their well-being and their construction and whatnot, which is already kind of there.
A little bit, yeah.
Maybe some impatience with folks who don't think things through or are callous around machines, or, did you try to turn the router on and off? If I get down there and it's like not plugged into the wall, I'm going to be so nettled with you.
Nettled? No, not nettled.
Belle, do you really think you can make this project work? Oh, I'll show you. I'll show you all. I mean, yes, I can totally do that.
Oh, boy. Poor Belle. All right, question from Noni. At what level does Roggenrola evolve into Metal Sonic?
This one's tricky because it doesn't involve level. You have to apply a metal coat to it, and then you have to go to the bike path and complete at least 50 loops without running into anybody, maintaining top speed the entire time. Then he evolves.
Okay. Then he sprouts a Sonic head, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Normal person has a question. Is Tangle for one to kiss the homies goodnight? And if so, how would Jewel, Whisper, and Lanolin react to this?
I don't see Tangle as a kisser. Hugger? Yeah, well, that's established.
Yeah.
But not beyond that.
Not even whisper?
Well, that's different.
Okay. Checking.
I mean, it's pretty clear by now they're coworkers.
Wink. Wink. They're totally roommates.
Oh, yeah.
They were roommates. Here's one from Onyxodon. Does Whisper believe in redemption? Or does she believe that once a bad person, always a bad person? I asked because she was willing to kill Mimic and Eggman because there was a... I asked because she was willing to kill Mimic and Eggman because there was a friend with her. Would this be explored later?
I can't say whether or not it'll be explored because, I'm not primary writer anymore. I haven't been for years and wouldn't want to spoil it anyway. But personally, I see Whisper as someone who takes people as they present themselves. Mimic is a bad man. Therefore, he is a bad man.
Well, there you go.
Simple, straightforward. I think she would like to believe in the idea of redemption, but that's a what if. And she doesn't deal in what ifs. She deals with what's here and now.
Makes sense to me. All right, question from Peacock Queen. How do you imagine a fight between Amy and Sarah, Ed's younger sister from the cartoon Ed, Ed, and Eddie? Who would win?
We would all lose.
I have no memory of who Sarah is. I've only seen a little bit of Ed, Ed, and Eddie. I've seen more of it than most Nickelodeon shows, though, actually. Older Nickelodeon
Cartoon Network
shows. Oh, okay. Older Cartoon Network shows, then. So, either way.
Sarah was the young, shrill, hyper-violent younger sister to Ed.
Okay.
Normally very sweet and overprotective of Johnny, and that overprotectiveness very quickly boiled over into violence in only the way that Ed, Ed, and Eddie could present it. God, I love that show. But, so first we would have to find a reason for them to come into conflict because Amy is not necessarily going to set Sarah off. They would actually get along swimmingly, being, cutesy and girly and happy. And then I guess maybe something happens to Jimmy and hair trigger Sarah goes off and Amy tries to, maybe intervene, tone things down, which is only going to set Sarah off further. And thus Amy's going to have to, reasonably retaliate. Except this is the Ed, Ed, and Eddie universe, so she gets to go a little extra crazy. We're talking like hammer hitting the pavement and causing the entire cul-de-sac to undulate.
Oh, boy.
Like Sarah ripping a stop sign out of the ground with her teeth and just going to bat with it like a dog. Housing's being leveled and, random yodeling as people are sent through the stratosphere. Oh, it would be glorious.
Brilliant. Delightful. Wonderful.
I remember we had that show on and just going one day. My dad just happened to be in the room. And Ed, single D, just puts on that big dumb smile and says, "Service is my middle toe." And my dad just lost it. Absolutely lost it. My name, I am an Oedipus because my name is Ed. Love that show. Absolutely adore it.
All right, question from Rabbit Haver. Well, the big news is out, Mr. Flynn. IDW is interested in trying to reach an older audience with their Sonic comics. So to enable this, they are republishing every issue currently out and demanding that you make one change and one change only. You must include one F-bomb and only one across all 71 issues. Where do you put in this glossy new word? Who says it? And what are they saying it in response to?
Oh, the choices. The choices, Kyle. And you're going to have to bleep this, but for those of you who are listening live, you get the fun version. Maybe in the initial Sonic and Shadow fight, and Shadow races off, and Sonic just kind of looks at the camera and says, "Nerds."
Yeah.
And just change that. That'd be a good place to just have him look at the camera and go,
You're gonna give it to Sonic? All right.
I'm weighing my options here. I'm weighing my, what was the issue where everyone lost their mind because Silver said crap? And that's a good place to escalate, right?
I mean, right? Sure. Wait a minute. Who else has said crap? Cream, didn't she? Or no, she said, "What the heck?" Swap that one out. Swap that heck out of it. Swap that heck out. Why not? Let Cream say a real swear.
I mean, we could take everyone's favorite line from Shadow, spice it up a little bit. Cowards run. I f***ing win.
It's a little too spicy. Kind of surprised you wouldn't give it to Surge, but I guess she's kind of implied to be saying.
I mean, if you're going to use it once, you might as well make sure that it resonates with the people.
Yeah. Cowards run.
No. That's a completely different context of the word.
All right, question from Rykins. Shadow is thrown into the Dragon Ball Z universe. He's the ultimate life form, so we'll say he's at least as strong as a Saiyan, complete with transformations, if he puts the training in. Does he? Does he care? What are his interactions with the other characters?
I think it would take one solid loss for him to realize he has to train. This really depends where in Dragon Ball Z he gets plopped down. If we're talking like Saiyan Invasion, that's one thing. If we're talking like Cell Saga, But yeah, I mean, you point out that Goku managed to achieve such heights by training in 100 times gravity. I'll do it in 101.
He's always got to one-up everybody, doesn't he? Is that his thing? That's just his thing, isn't it? Scurvy Pirate Dog has a question. Starline's isekai adventures continue. This time, he lands in the world of the Stanley Parable. How does he react to the narrative? I know. I read this one and I'm like, oh boy, I really hope he knows something about the Stanley Parable because this is going to be good if he does. How does he react to the narrator? How do the events of the Starline Parable go?
Oh my God, I want that mod. I want that mod right now.
He's going to be talking to himself the whole time. I mean, you know, someone hire Ian to voice him. There you go.
I'll do it pro bono. My God.
Oh, man. Let's say, who's the narrator? It's the narrator. I mean,
yeah, you can keep the narrator.
Everything's
absolutely.
the same. Yeah.
It's just instead of Stanley being silent, you have Starline growing exponentially more irate. And the thing is, because Stanley Parable, depending on the route you take, can get kind of creepy and dark.
Yes.
And having Starline this deep into the isekai adventure, realizing that he's trapped, that there is no isekaiing your way out of this, and that existential dread setting in, that would be horrifying. Now, getting there would be hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Just him snarking back to the narrator and not getting any response and purposefully going off path and doing things wrong just to try to instigate something. Or the frustration at losing control so many times over. Oh, that'd be exquisite.
This is his punishment. Finally. We've finally gotten to the end of the isekai adventures, I think.
Oh, no. I almost feel bad for him. Oof.
Oh, no. Big oof. Feel bad for him.
Oh, finally, that closet door's open. That was never open before. And this is just DLC, isn't it?
No, he's aware he's in a video game now, even. Oh, no.
Jump in a circle a finite number of times. How asinine could it be? But I have nothing better to do. Hop, hop, hop.
Oh, no. All right. Next question is from Sleepy. Good news, you got a freedom fighter into the IDW comic. However, you only managed to get Nicole, the whole Lynx. How would you change Nicole to better fit the IDW world? And how would you separate her from the freedom fighters as her own character in terms of her origins?
This may not be the right answer, or even the best answer. But first thing that kind of pops to mind is Sage is torn because she enjoys the interactions of Sonic and his friends, but they're sworn enemies. and she's never going to betray her father. But she can't have that life. She can't live in both worlds. So she decides to copy the code. And now she can have both, except Sage 2 has the same existential crisis. She's loyal to Eggman, but can't live amongst the fuzzy buddies. So Sage modifies the code into Nicole, someone who can coexist with them, someone who is free of any obligations to Eggman, so that she can vicariously live that life. And she's satisfied with that because she's a weird little program thing. And then, like, she and Nicole secretly hang out on a server somewhere and swap stories about what's going on and, you know, act very sisterly. And then at the end of the day, they have to clock out. And it's like, well, father's going to try to bomb your friends again tomorrow. Heads up. Oh, thanks. Goodness, Nicole, your early warning system's always on point. How do you do it? I just coded well, I guess.
Of course. Alrighty. Soccer Cot has a question before we take a break. Whisper, Nicole, and Tails travel to our world to an area that has had a lot of problems with wolves, lynx, and foxes killing livestock recently. How do each one of them handle the fear and hate directed at their respective species?
I mean, number one, they have to interact with people who presumably haven't met talking cartoon animals, so that's the first hurdle to get over.
They don't really resemble their species so much, so they might skate under the radar a bit.
I mean, you have noodle-armed, bug-eyed anime cartoon animals talking to you. That's going to be the initial reaction of most people. Ah!
Yeah, Tails is probably the closest.
I know all the Sonic fans. I know all the Sonic fans would just run up and hug them like, oh my God, you're real, finally. But most people would be unnerved by this. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah, Tails looks fox-like, but Whisper and Nicole, less like their real-life counterpart species.
You can see it if you make the correlation. Anyway.
If you squint, maybe.
Well, Whisper does, so there you go.
Okay, fine. You got me there. Damn it. Flynn.
I mean, I would imagine Nicole and Tails would want to look at the greater scope of the issue. Why are they having problems with predators within these scenarios, and what can be done in a reasonable conservation way to balance things out so that, you know, these animals are protected, but so are the livestock and whatnot.
Yeah.
Whisper probably is going to be more of, you've got to protect the livestock. Sorry.
Dang. Brutal. But, oh well. Nicole and Tails can figure something out. They're smart.
Yeah, they're smart.
Whisper's smart too, but, you know, in a different way.
I mean, part of it too is they don't identify as animals.
No.
You know, there isn't any kind of racial trait for foxes or wolves or lynxes or whatever. They're just people. So that's why I hesitate to weigh in on that side at all. I know they kind of did that in the early Archie stuff, and I feel like that's a mistake. That's you're treading into territory that you will never properly and fully investigate and draw worrisome parallels that are disingenuous and hurtful. So they are animals insofar as it helps define their design, but they are not animals in word or deed.
Yes. All right. On that note, let's take a quick break and then come back with more BumbleKast. We're back with a question from Sonic Swordfighter. We've had the Iblis Rizzer. Now it's time for Mephiriz. How would our favorite dark baddie flirt with Rouge, Blaze, Amy, Surge, and Sonic, and how would they react? And no, this isn't part of some scheme, at least for the moment.
Kyle, I have a problem.
Yes.
I have tons of great responses, but not a single one of them is appropriate for this show.
Okay.
Like, I ain't going to say it for the folks who are listening live. That would, you know, just have to take your word for it that I said these things. This is a G-rated show, maybe PG, and everything I'm thinking of is like hard R and hilarious, and I can't say it.
We just did like replacing the F word, replacing words with the F words. We just did a whole bit where we made
that is
Cream
an underhanded wiffle ball toss.
Where we made Cream say the F word.
You did that. I didn't.
I didn't do that.
You absolutely did.
Okay, fine.
That was all you, buddy.
Okay,
Own it.
I think it was
Savor
the
it.
chat who brought that up.
Oh no, the chat came up with it. I miss.
I mean, I repeated it, but yeah. Text it to me so I can say it then.
No.
Tell me. Tell me, Ian Flynn.
No, I'm sorry, Sonic Sword Fighter, but everything I can think of is too dirty for BumbleKast After Dark. So you're just gonna have to imagine your own stuff, because
is it the Dan Green effect? Is that the thing? Is that the thing? It's his voice,
that sultry voice.
Yeah. I was gonna say that voice is just too good. It's just too hot. Well, fine. Spoiler 1001 has a question then. Fiona Fox decides that the only two that can help her with a job is Rough and Tumble. Maybe she has an idiot-shaped hole in her heart. Can the three of them pull off stealing whatever Fiona is after?
Eventually, yes. There will be hijinks, but they'll get it done. Fiona running Rough and Tumble really works particularly well, doesn't
it? She's used to wrangling dumbasses.
Like she'd be just caustic enough to keep them in a line, but she understands what they are.
Yeah.
And so she handles them handily enough.
Oh yeah. She'll be fine.
Now I'm sad we can't port Fiona over, because that would work so well. Drat.
Just come up with another character who happens to have a similar name and a fascination with leather. It's fine. Leona Locks. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You can have that one for free. Steph Cube has a question. Remember when I asked you how physically strong Sonic is in his normal form? Well, I was watching Sonic Prime, and in one of the episodes, Sonic literally pulls an entire pirate ship with just his arms. And he wasn't even slow. He was at high speed. I mean, Sonic has the strength to drag a freaking pirate ship. What do you think about that?
I think I'm done talking about Sonic Prime.
Oh, hold on. Was this ship in the water?
Yes.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Because generally, you can kind of at least pull things when they're in the water. Like, it's not necessarily easy, especially for something that large, but generally kind of can. So there's less, water has less resistance than, the ground. So, yeah, we'll go with that. Superior Pizza has a question. In previous BumbleKast, you've said that someone as powerful as Giganto or the other Titans that are capable of making Supersonic feel pain, but still can't bypass his invulnerability. That got me thinking, what characters do you think can make a Supersonic feel pain outside of his series? Do you think Goku or Mario is capable of such a feat? Do you have any characters you can think of that could make Supersonic see stars like the Titans did?
I imagine if anything has enough oomph behind it that it can stop Supersonic, he'd feel it.
Yeah.
Like, even Doomsday Zone when he's getting missiles to the face. I'm sure that doesn't tickle, but it, also doesn't harm him, so he can keep on trucking.
Yeah, and also running, face first into meteors. It slowed him down, at least. I don't know how it affected him, but yeah, the missiles made him spin a bit, so.
And I'm pretty sure it's I think it's the first Sonic Rush final boss.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can the laser sword can actually straight up knock rings out of you. So in that regard, it does penetrate and cause damage.
Wow.
Sure, he feels that one.
Wow. Dang.
I know there's a few other bosses that can actually damage Supersonic, which I don't like. That's the entire point of the characters. He can't be harmed. it's the ultimate power trip, but that's another topic entirely. So yeah, in general, if you've got something in any form of media that has the power to severely hamper or at least affect someone with that kind of invulnerability and speed to supersonic, then sure, he'd feel it, I guess.
Yeah. All right, Cyberspace Coco has a question. My friend and I were watching The Knuckles Show. We made a passing comparison of the characters Mason and Willoughby to Jesse and James from Pokemon. When thinking about who would be their Meowth, I instantly thought Starline. So on that note, Starline gets Pokekied into the Pokemon world as Meowth, has to support Jesse and James, and help capture Pikachu. How do he do?
Meowth, that's right.
No. How?
I can see it working. Him being snarky and greatly impatient with their antics.
Yes. Coming
up with the plans on how to capture that Pikachu, and even, raising the possibility of catching something else, anything else. They're part of a global crime organization that focuses on stealing things. There's lots of things.
Yeah.
If we can't mug this 10-year-old, can we mug somebody else?
Can we steal someone else's Pikachu? Seems like
and
that
then he gets eaten by James's victory bell, and the Isekai adventures continue.
Some people in the chat, apparently, you saying that line of Starline gave them psychic damage.
Which is really impressive because he's just a normal type.
Good job. Question from the Ollie Roger. Since the Boom episode, the biggest fan is essentially Misery for kids. Do you think there are any other works by Stephen King that the show could have parodied as effectively?
Oh, I'm sure they could. I mean, all you need is the most basic premise, but then make it funny.
How do you make the Tommy knockers funny?
They keep getting lost in this really obnoxious fog and coming out of the wrong part of the island.
Oh.
And Styx swears there's some kind of nameless, formless thing in the fog, but they don't run into it.
Yeah.
Like it passes over buildings or structures or terrain that's damaged, but they never run into it. Styx is like, I swear there's something in there. Well, if it was, we would have run into it by now.
Yeah.
And so Tails just builds a gigantic fan and blows it over to Eggman's Island.
Yeah.
Salem's Lot, the very obvious vampire, moves into Hedgehog Village, and every day another villager is suddenly very ill in the sun and very obviously a vampire, and nobody's picking up on it. Knuckles gets bitten. He doesn't change at all.
Uh-oh.
He's like, he's got the fangs. He's got red eyes. He's like destroying tomatoes like they're Capri Suns, but he's still Knuckles.
Yeah.
And Styx swears that this strange European man is a vampire. Styx, if he was a vampire, he wouldn't be able to come out in the day. He doesn't. Well, he wouldn't be able to cross running water. He doesn't. If you threw rice on the path in front of him, he'd have to stop and count every single one. He's doing it right now. Styx, why are you throwing rice at people in the middle of the night? You're weird.
Yeah.
Cujo, somebody adopts a giant mechanical dog that Eggman has built. Hijinks ensue. I'm sure you could do a whole bunch of others.
It's the Boom version of Maximum Overdrive.
Oh no, somebody dumped a big bucket of ketchup on Amy at the school prom.
Oh boy. All right. And question from the Unholy Savior. Sonic was stated to have run in the Olympic Games. Logically, that would mean that Mario and Sonic share the same cosmology. Wouldn't this make the Mario from the Olympics somewhat of a Sonic character, and vice versa? Could they affect each other's universes? This is putting way too much stock into a crossover spin-off game. Here's the easy answer. There's a separate universe altogether that contains Mario and Sonic. There is no crossover otherwise. And the Olympics. Yes. That's all that's there. Mario, Sonic, and the Olympics. There's nothing else. That is nothing beyond that cosmology. Nothing else exists. Every 2 years, a new city appears so that there can be new events there.
Hey, Sonic, they just admitted to something called the Tokyo. You want to have an Olympics there?
It's only the Olympics. And question from Twilord. Let's imagine Shadow resisting Black Doom was just the edge of how brainwash-proof Gerald made him. Even his own attempt ultimately failed. What would happen if Shadow caused a Borg invasion, assimilation, indigestion, like Hugh and Icheb did? How does Sonic write himself out?
I don't see how Sonic has to be involved. But that is an interesting idea. Shadow, this would, one, the Black Arms would have to be back. But, assuming that Shadow instilling his own free will into the various mindless minions that Black Doom controls.
Mm.
The thing is, unlike Hugh, I don't see Shadow as someone looking out for any individual Black Arms. If they manifest a will of their own desires, a rebellious nature, it's up to them to see it through. I ain't no helicopter parent, sink or swim.
Yeah. And Vineclad has a question. So, Yuji Uekawa designed some mascots for the Sega Sammy Athletic Club named Rooter and Vicky. They seem to take inspiration from Rystar's concept art. Can we expect them to make a cameo in the games or other media?
I don't know. It really depends on how strict the powers that be are with licensing. Like, you would think if it's made under the Sega Sammy umbrella, everything should be copacetic, but it is not.
Not necessarily. Nope. It's weird.
So, I mean, if an artist in like IDW snuck it in the background as like a poster on a wall and it didn't get immediately flagged, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Like actively saying, hey, we want Rooter and Vicky. I wonder if it's Vici, whatever. We want them to show up as like a dedicated cameo to some degree. That probably not. I mean, shoot, the one John Gray cover from a couple years back where they're playing on a Dreamcast, that caused a surprising amount of discussion that I don't think I can really get into, but it was not a straightforward, there it is, which caught everybody by surprise. So I don't know. Business is complicated.
Yes, indeed. All right. And our last question for this episode comes to us from Zetamax. Shadow storybook time. Shadow as Orpheus traveling through the Greek underworld to save Eurydice Maria.
Ooh.
Who do you cast as the various gods? And does Shadow get to throw a lightning bolt chaos spear at some point? Oh, now it's just God of Shadow.
Now I've got, in my mind's eye, I see this kind of storybook setting of Orpheus Shadow not having any faith that anyone's going to honor their word and turning back to offer a hand to Eurydice Maria.
Eurydice? Okay, that's how you pronounce that word.
I think. And the look on her face is the pact is broken and she gets dragged back to the underworld. And the look on his face as he realizes he done messed up.
Oh,
that is heartbreaking. I mean, it's baked in, but oof.
brutal.
No, big oof. That's a big oof right there.
Wow, it's a very large oof.
And who to cast? Maybe make Big Charon the boatman of the underworld.
Yeah.
I mean, we already have an egg Cerberus. Just give it 2 extra heads.
Yeah, true.
Who would be Hades and Persephone, though?
I'm getting several suggestions. Mephiles is a good one.
Maybe.
Otherwise, Starline.
Maybe.
You need someone who can play up smug real well.
It depends on how you want to read how you want to characterize your Hades. Because in some interpretations, he, is king of the dead and has just become so cold and distant from all the loss and misery that comes with it that he's removed. True. Others, he's, very imperious. He has to rule with a very firm hand over the largest dominion that there is. Others, he's just very detached, that he doesn't care. This is his lot in life, and so he's taking it. So it really depends on how you want to read Hades in this.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm kind of spoiled for choice. And there's also, the who's the developer of the roguelike Hades?
Supergiant.
Supergiant, there we go. Their interpretation just immaculate.
Yes.
Like, can we just cross-pollinate games and just have the Supergiant Hades and Persephone? I just want to see them again, really.
Okay. I'm down. I love Supergiant games. Let's go. All right.
Oh my God, their take on Hades the god was every aspect of it so good. The nuance, the pain of it, how absolutely vile and foppish the Olympian gods are. And we're getting way off topic.
Yeah, I know, but Hades is exquisite. I mean, come on.
The other hard hurdle is to imagine Shadow with such a beautiful singing voice that he wins everybody over to his cause. Shadow traveling to the underworld to get Maria back. Sure, I'll buy that. Easy. Doing it through song, that one's a little harder to sell. Although it would be really funny in a storybook context where maybe the lyre is like a Caliburn type thing and guiding him through the story. You have to sing a song so that you can bypass the payment to the ferryman. You have to move him with your beautiful singing voice. Just plinking on a single chord. Let me on the boat. Let me on the boat. Let me on the boat, and I won't kick you in the throat. There. I sang a song. Okay. You have to lull the fearsome guard dog Cerberus to sleep. Go to sleep, dog. Plink, plink, plink. Go to sleep, dog. Plink, plink, plink.
Apparently, Shadow's first voice actor is an accomplished singer.
Oh, well, there you go then.
So, bring back David Humphreys for Shadow for one night only. All right. And that's all we got for this edition of the BumbleKast.
Thank you to all our supporters over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members for making this show possible. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Don't look back at Eurydice if you're leaving Hades, for the love of God. And we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Take care, everybody.
You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
Oh, well. You Gen 1er.
Look, Diamond and Pearl were great, okay? I'm not beholden to the single gen. I liked Sun and Moon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's where I fell off, but, whatever.
Yes, I recognize some of these words. Your faith has been shield, Gen 1er, apparently.